The CoinDesk Spotlight is brought to you by Nexo, the place to earn on Bitcoin, Ethereum, and more.
Joining us now to discuss is Michele Schneider, Managing Director of the MarketGauge Group in New Mexico. Hello there, Michele. Always a pleasure having you on. So we did notice that amid this EU vote coming across, Bitcoin start to slide. I wonder how you see that correlation.
Well, what's interesting is that Bitcoin has been doing this now for quite some time, where it rallies to a certain resistance level and then backs off to the previous resistance level that it broke out from, and then spends a period of time consolidating. And so one would guess that between 45,000 and 45,500, where it broke out from, is now going to be the support. If historically we're looking back and seeing that sort of happen, which is incredibly orderly when you think about it, considering the volatility that we had in the past in Bitcoin.
So you don't think this legislation, this vote, really had much to do with the price decline?
Oh, no, I'm sure it was a catalyst, just like all of the other catalysts that we've seen for declines. China outlawing, Korea coming in and outlawing, talk in the United States about regulation. All of these things have put a dent in the rally. But what I'm saying is that we see buying coming in by the whales on these dips, because overall, I think most people, at least the big whale people, and if you talk to people like MicroStrategy, et cetera, think that this is all buy opportunities, because at some point, Bitcoin will prevail, even with all of the government attempts to centralize something that is meant to be decentralized.
That's right. You mentioned MicroStrategy. They've gotten a $200 million loan in order to buy more Bitcoin. They are a subsidiary of MicroStrategy, run by Michael Saylor, who is a prominent Bitcoin bull. We're seeing a lot of institutional investment, talk from BlackRock, Bridgewater Associates, Goldman Sachs, all wanting to get into crypto funds and whatnot. We also saw this latest inflation report from the Department of Labor. I wonder what you make of this latest print, especially as Bitcoin is considered a hedge against inflation. Is that already priced in, though? One would think that the price would go up.
Right. Well, we've actually seen over the last several weeks that Bitcoin is trying to figure out whether it's a risk on or a risk off type asset, whether it's going to follow the S&P or decouple from it. And I think what I like to say, and I've actually said it before on this show, is that Bitcoin is sort of in its adolescence, trying to figure out exactly what it wants to be when it grows up and where it actually fits economically compared to typical equities. And I believe that the inflation report has obviously impacted the overall market, but like Bitcoin, not so much, because at this point, it's like, duh, we have inflation. What more proof do we need? The only people who seem to be still somewhat in denial about it are the very people who can actually stop it, which of course is the Federal Reserve.
Interesting. So Bitcoin, I wonder, what's your outlook for the short term? Because last week you said if Bitcoin passed the $45,000 level, it would proceed to higher highs. And I wonder, do you see it going in that direction in the near future? Past 50,000?
Yeah. Well, if we're looking at the cyclical lows that we've had higher lows over the course of several years. So if we take that as sort of a theme technically, then we can hope, or at least assume for now, that we're going to hold this 45 level. We made an attempt. We got close to about 49 and change. If we can get through 50, you know, I'm not going to be one of these insane predictors and say, oh, therefore we're going to 75. I think we're going in these tranches. So if we can get through 50, we'll look at 52 to 53. And what could very easily happen at 52, 53 is some bit of news will come out and knock it back down to its next support level if we can get back over that 48, 49. And that's kind of how it's been going, which is actually, if you think about it and step back and look at the long term, very constructive, considering how many barbs Bitcoin has taken.
Mm-hmm. Well, the all-time high for Bitcoin right now is just under 69,000, and Bitcoin has a way of chopping off about 50% before making a market reversal and then making new all-time highs. So I wonder, what is your strategy to navigate this volatility?
Well, we've actually been trading a lot of the altcoins instead. So, we were talking before about MicroStrategy buying Bitcoin wrapped Luna, which really is the only large cap coin right now that's kind of doing its own thing. I mean, it recently went to all-time highs. They've been actively buying Bitcoin over the last month, and they're still buying to the tune of something like $10 billion. And all of that is really to back their stable coin, which is UST. So that is what we've been trading along with Avalanche and along with Solana. Avalanche has also cleared some key moving averages, and Solana, is working now with OpenSea, which right to this point has only backed Ethereum-based NFTs, and now is going to look at Solana-backed NFTs on the OpenSea platform. So that could be a boost. And that's kind of how we're dealing with Bitcoin right now. We're looking at it as sort of the overall macro breadth, if you will. But some of those altcoins have their own thing going on, and they've been great to trade.